Out in the tropics, we have a couple spots to watch. Of course, Hurricane Erin in the western Atlantic, just north of Puerto Rico now. One spot off the east coast has a low chance of development, but that's going to head off to the east and not impact any land areas. But there is actually a new spot to watch. A tropical wave is going to come off of Africa, and there are low chances of development in the central Atlantic later in the upcoming week. So that'll be a long-term area to watch in the central Atlantic later this week. Let's talk more about Erin. Hurricane Erin, still a Category 3 storm, so it has weakened since yesterday. It was a Category 5 yesterday, now down to a Cat 3 at 125-mile-per-hour wind speeds, bringing some heavy rain and gusty winds to parts of the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, seeing some heavy rain and stronger winds. It is expected to strengthen again back to a Category 4 later today, and then eventually we'll take that turn to the north and then the northeast, staying well offshore of the east coast, so not impacting the United States. Thankfully, we've got this great pattern, this wonderful setup that has, been the dominant feature. This trough of low pressure will take Erin off to the east, and we're not going to see any big impacts at all across the eastern seaboard, except for those big waves we've been talking about, massive swells from Erin, because Erin's going to expand in size as it moves to the north. So we'll have rip currents and rough seas along the eastern seaboard this week, something to keep in mind for beachgoers. Also, since it will be expanding in size, Erin's wind field will get stronger, or wider, I should say. So there could be some gusty winds along the coastal spots, especially in coastal Carolinas and parts of the mid-Atlantic along the coast could see some gusty winds mid to late week, and that's really the extent of it. No big impacts at all. Out in the tropics, though, like I mentioned, we'll be watching that one long-term area in the central Atlantic. But here for us along the Gulf Coast, no worries over the next week when it comes to the tropics. Just lots of heat and humidity, especially today. 95, 96 degrees this afternoon, 95 tomorrow. So we